Okay, we're back. Ron Phillips here, and I'm going to share with you a case study. This is awesome. And it says thank you, Ron, but honestly, I have a huge team behind me that helps me do everything that we do here. Wealth Accelerator System, it isn't one person, can't be one person. This is a system, and it's putting all of the pieces in place that makes this work. And I think you'll see this through this example. Okay, now the client that sent this did an unbelievable PowerPoint. I haven't changed any. This is exactly how she sent it to me. But she asked me to withhold her name because there's a lot of detail in this PowerPoint. And so I'm just going to go through it with you. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how this works. So we usually sit down with our clients and we go through a financial analysis with them and help them create a game plan so that they know what they're doing and they understand how to make this system work. And we do this for free, okay? And so we sat down with this client and her husband, and we sat down, went over their goals and went over their finances and tried to figure out how to help them create a plan to do exactly what you've been seeing in the last couple of videos. And so this is what she sent. Dear Ron and team, we'd like to thank you for all of your support. You've made a huge difference in our retirement planning and investment success. We'd like to show you in numbers what you've helped us achieve. And so here it is. Before they met us, negative cash flow of $1,134 a month. And now their positive cash flow, $1,756 a month. That is a huge swing, folks. It's $3,000 worth of difference in their monthly cash flow. It's incredible. And these are the things that make it worthwhile to us to be able to help clients do these things. All right, and here's exactly, this is what she sent, and I got a kick out of this slide. This is what we did on our own. So she's saying they speculated, and she gave us the definitions of these too. Form a theory or conjecture about a subject without firm evidence. And they leveraged. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with leverage, but if you do it on speculation, that's a problem. Okay, and then that's, I think, where she's going with this. So this is what they did. They speculated a house in Missouri. They did a zero down loan. Back in the day when anybody could get a loan, I mean, they're very qualified, but anybody get a loan, you get zero down loans. And they were banking on it appreciating. Okay, hope that the house would appreciate in value and they could refinance it some way down the road. It actually dropped in value. They were upside down. They weren't able to refinance. They couldn't get any cash out of it, and it was a negative cash flowing property. They also spent $100,000 on some land at the top of the market. They thought they could sell it in a couple years for a quick profit of 20 grand. Again, speculation. But they weren't. They weren't able to do it. Lenders weren't lending. People weren't building. There's no way they could even get rid of the property because they weren't giving lot loans. And that was an 832 negative because they took out a loan to buy that property. So, and this is what they did with us. Completed our income statement and balance sheet based on our recommendations to see their current financial state. Most people have no idea where they are financially. And that's why we like to sit down with everybody first and go through it. So that not only we know, but so that the client knows. Set up a meeting with us to create a long-term plan for retirement investing, which we did in person actually out in Southern California. And we worked out a plan including buying a certain number of properties within the next 3 to 5 years and then pay them off early so that they can have $10,000 a month in retirement cash flow every single month. Okay? Now, interesting, when I talked to her on the phone, she said, my husband said $10,000, and she was thinking in her head, there's no way that they could possibly accomplish that. Now, I knew they could accomplish that because I had seen their income statement and balance sheet. I knew that they had the assets to be able to do that. So they only considered investments that fit into this plan that we had outlined for them. Now, they did do their own due diligence to make sure that everything that we were telling them was accurate. So just because everything is kind of packaged and we were helping them through all this process doesn't mean that they shouldn't do due diligence on the properties. They actually did that. Okay? In their own due diligence, they checked mortgage rates, interest rates, payments. They estimated the rents and expenses. They did that with the property management companies. They verified the homeowners association dues, the taxes, and all these things that we had already given them. And then they used this cool mortgage calculator, and it's on here, guys. You can take a look at it. Carl's mortgage calculator, to determine whether it fit into their overall goal. And what that does is it's basically a calculator. It shows them what the cash flow is, projects it long term, and how all that works. Okay. And this is one of the properties that they purchased. You can see the numbers here. It's a $90,000 purchase on one of those newer properties, like we talked about, and it cash flows $536 a month after all expenses. And here on the pro forma, you can actually see all the expenses. You can see their payment, you can see their taxes, their insurance, their homeowner association dues, the property management fee, and everything. After all those fees, it cash flows $536 a month. Okay, and here they are. You can see what our pro forma showed, and you can also see what the actual numbers were. Okay, now we told them it was going to get a little bit more rent than they got, but the reason was because they actually decided to take a 3-year lease instead of a 1-year lease, which is a fantastic thing, for $50 less a month, which is unbelievable, because now they have straight cash flow with no move-in, move-outs for the next 3 years. Awesome. And then they went through how they were going to pay this off early, and theirs is based on an 11-year calculation. There's several different ways to do this. I've actually got a land series which you can also watch. And in there I show people another strategy to be able to do this. But you can see here they can have their mortgage paid off in 11 years, very close to their 10-year mark. And then of course they get all of the cash flow in that particular property. She even projected it out. They're a third of the way to reaching their goal. And it's only been, I believe, a little over 1.5 years. All right. So, conclusion, she says. Very happy that you and my husband are thinking big for our retirement. Don't think you are both so crazy now. We're forever grateful to you and your team for making retirement dreams start to turn into a reality before our eyes. Now, folks, this is what we do. You know, helping people purchase property all across the country is what we do. I've actually been doing this now for over 8 years, and I've helped thousands of people, literally thousands of people, purchase properties all across the country and cash flow. And I think the most important thing is that we've done this in a boom market, in a down market, and in a normal market. We've done the whole cycle and been able to successfully help our people through the process. We can help you too. The first step really is to just sit down with us over the phone, over a web conference, or in person if you're in one of the places where we are, and sit down and do what this client did. Let's sit down and put together a game plan so you know what you're doing. It doesn't cost you any money. Simply call into our office. You can actually click on the button down here, and you can actually schedule your own appointment on our calendar, and one of us will call you and we'll go through where you are currently, where you want to be, and we'll help you put together a plan that helps you get there, just like we did for this nice couple who has had some wonderful success. Folks, we look forward to talking to you. We look forward to helping you. I hope all this has been very helpful. I've got a bunch more videos on YouTube, and if you would do me a small favor, click on them that you like them, comment if you'd like to, and share them with all your friends. Thanks. Look forward to talking to you.